you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Google it if you want to know more. Any day, any time.
And you turned on Netflix that night. We were like, holy fuck, I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all time.
Dana White has just confirmed Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate. And honestly, this is the showdown we've all been waiting for. But let's be real here. This isn't just another one of Jake's carefully curated stunts where he fights a guy who's either retired, irrelevant, or just happy to collect a paycheck. No, this time Jake's stepping into the ring with Andrew Tate, a guy who's not only in his prime, but also knows how to throw punches that hurt. Not just physically, but existentially.
Nobody is sitting down right. You want for good reason. We have not only champions of the past, we have world champions of the present.
And let's not forget, this fight has a purpose. Tate is coming in hot, ready to avenge the legacy of Mike Tyson. And in the process, expose Jake as less of a fighter and more of a walking PR gimmick with muscles inflated by hype and maybe a little help from the needle.
Don't worry about Conor McGregor you up. Don't worry about Floyd Mayweather you up. You only want to lose to them so you can say, well, I lost to Conor McGregor. Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired? I live in the real world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to
this sport. And Dana White didn't just confirm the fight, he dropped a bombshell about Andrew Tate's motivation, and it's personal.
You know, there's a lot of, in Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time. I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way the fight, I don't know what people expect.
Tate isn't stepping into the ring for the glory or the cash. Though let's be real, $3 million on the line doesn't hurt. No, this is about vengeance, pride, and restoring dignity to a sport that Jake Paul has been treating like his personal TikTok stage. After Jake's painfully awkward bout with Mike Tyson, a fight that some are calling a tragic comedy, Tate didn't hold back.
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful.
He outright accused Paul of disrespecting not just Tyson, but the sacred art of boxing itself. For Tate, this wasn't just an underwhelming fight. It was an insult to every warrior who's ever bled, broken bones, or been knocked out cold in pursuit of greatness.
You know, where his head's at in life in terms of what he wants to do.
Okay, you didn't answer the question. Do you have any interest in it?
I don't know. I mean, Andrew has messaged me over the past few days And
let's not sugarcoat it. Jake's fight with Tyson was more theater than sport. Tyson, at nearly 60, hobbled into the ring with a knee brace and still gave Jake a run for his money. But did Jake walk out humble? Oh no. He strutted around like he just unified all the belts, crowning himself the greatest showman in boxing. The backlash was swift and brutal. Critics called it a farce. Fans ripped him apart online. And even Tyson fans felt their idol had been reduced to a pawn in Jake's never-ending clout chase. But here comes Andrew Tate, stepping out of retirement like a gladiator from the Coliseum, ready to do what Tyson couldn't, shut Jake Paul up for good.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better.
Tate's approach isn't subtle, because when has he ever been? He's made it crystal clear. Jake needs a reality check, and Tate is more than happy to deliver it. Forget the Instagram-worthy press conferences or the fake smiles. Tate's betting $3 million of his own money on this fight. Winner takes all. For him, this isn't a paycheck or a social media stunt. It's a statement.
Do it. Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm
let's
about
do
the
it.
action. Like I'm less talk now. Let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania. We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever conditions you want. 2 brothers, 1 cage.
A bold reminder that boxing belongs to real fighters, not wannabe influencers with floated egos and questionable training regimens. Tate's got the credentials to back his big talk too. 4-time world champion, decades of grit, and a highlight reel that screams dangerous.
Keep going. Come on, work. Go, work.
And then there's Jake. Oh, Jake. the walking, talking embodiment of a modern boxing era nobody asked for. Fresh off his Tyson escapade, Paul did what he does best: dismiss the criticism and double down on the theatrics. He waved off the backlash as jealousy because obviously, anyone who doesn't worship Jake Paul must be bitter about his success, right? He even went as far as mocking Tate, labeling him a washed-up kickboxer, and couldn't resist taking pot shots at Carl Froch while he was at it. That's Jake's playbook: drag people into his circus, toss out a few insults, and laugh all the way to the bank.
Nobody's sitting down for good reason. We have not only world champions of the past, we have world champions of the present. There is a shield in the building.
But here's the twist. This time, Jake isn't just playing the villain. He's walking a razor-thin line between being the loudmouth who thrives on controversy and a fighter who desperately needs to prove he's more than just hype. A loss to Tate won't just dent his ego, it'll crack the very foundation of the empire he's built on carefully orchestrated fights and viral moments.
Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight.
And we all know Dana White isn't just a promoter. He's the chess master of combat sports, and Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate, that's his latest checkmate. Word is, White had finally had enough of Jake's circus act. Years of influencer-driven boxing turning serious fighters into memes. So, instead of rolling his eyes like the rest of us, White saw the chaos and thought, let's steer this shipwreck. He stepped in, gave it a shiny narrative, and voila. Jake Paul is now set to face a man who isn't here for the clout, but for blood. Enter Andrew Tate, a fighter with actual credentials and enough disdain for Paul to power the entire Vegas Strip.
Jake is actually quite a nice guy. I met Jake and he's actually quite a nice guy. I wanted to jump back in there and teach him all a lesson. And there were some fights on the card, some big fights for me being organized in November.
Meanwhile, Jake is still doing his Jake thing, mocking Tate, dragging Carl Froch back into the mix, and generally being the loudest guy in the room. But let's face it, this time he knows the stakes. If he loses, it's not just his record taking a hit, it's the entire empire he's built on bravado, hype, and a well-curated roster of hand-picked opponents. For Jake, this fight isn't just another payday. It's a gamble that could either solidify his brand or blow it up in spectacular fashion. So here we are, Dana White pulling the strings, Andrew Tate delivering a masterclass in mind games, and Jake Paul standing at the edge of a career-defining cliff. This isn't just a fight, it's a battle for what combat sports will look like in the future. Will it belong to real fighters with scars to prove it, or will the influencers keep running the show? One thing's for sure, when the bell rings, the gloves won't be the only things